Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 146 of LostinTranslationmon. I'm May.
And I'm Jay.
And this time we watch Train of Terror.
Or Deuced Zone, Grand Locomon's Big Scrape City.
And Disaster in the Dust Zone.
Or Decisive Batley, Dark Knightmon vs. X-Rose Heart.
And Lost in Digital Space.
Or Vizemon, The Secrets of the Digital World.
I'm surprised you didn't just say Wizardmon.
It's not his name.
Oh, I know, neither is however you said Wisemon.
You can't prove that.
Ah, true. And also the secretions of the digital world sounds disgusting.
That's really gross.
Yeah, but it'd be like data or something, so like less gross if you think about it. But like I think secrete is like just automatically a
But there are poo monsters in this world. You have no idea what they secrete.
I mean, there's Damemon, who is poo, basically.
Isn't he a poo robot?
He looks like a poo robot. I'm still amazed that they kept his name as Damemon in the dub. Like, I just needed that to sink in, because Dame means no good, and that's what he says.
Well, I mean, it's not like those random Japanese ones where they give them, like, English names that they then have to change.
Oh, yeah, like Frontier?
Pinocchiomon.
Yeah, but what about Frontier? We had Fairymon changed to Japanese word for wind, which is Kazemon. And
Sure.
that was the English version. Wolfmon, Lobomon. I guess that because he wanted to, like, they wanted to make him like a German-themed dude, I guess. I mean, he already was, but they added to it. For DigiNews this week, no DigiNews because, I mean, there was some news here and there, but more or less it's because the With the World podcast like covers like every intricate bit of news. So in DigiNews, we'll obviously only ever discuss like the big news, like one of the writers resigned from working on the next Digimon project. That's kind of big news. This person also worked on Adventure 02 and X Evolutions. So like, is it a bad thing he resigned?
Thank goodness for good riddance of rubbish of... God, I've butchered this phrase.
Yeah, but I get what I'm picking up what you're putting down. I read somewhere that he really wanted to push this aliens and Digimon idea that he's been trying to push, where Digimon are fighting against aliens. Apparently that's the way he's always wanted to take the Digimon franchise.
To fight aliens?
Yes.
But Digimon are aliens.
Ish, but I think he meant like...
No. Digimon are aliens straight up. Especially in Cross Wars. Way more in Cross Wars.
No, but I mean like aliens as in this universe, in a planet, on a galaxy far, far away, aliens, while Digimon
There is legitimately an alien Digimon.
There are multiple.
There's at least one, and he has a ray gun.
Yeah, Ebemon and Vedamon.
I think I'm talking about Vedamon.
Yeah, the one in Adventure. Ebemon was in this season. So yeah, we won't be talking about every small bit of DigiNews. I think I haven't really mentioned that before. That's why we don't really cover everything that is ever released in DigiNews anymore, because the Withable podcast, which I'm on, goes through every single bit of news. Like, hey, a pen got released. Like, that's cool. We could talk about that.
Wow.
But
Now that's detail.
yeah, but like literally everything that's got like is somewhat Digimon related is discussed on the Withable podcast, like in terms of like news and stuff. So we don't need to go over every bit of news because there's already a podcast that does that, and you know, Jay doesn't care about a pen being released or a badge.
Boy, do I not.
I mean, Jay barely cares about new season of Digimon news.
I mean, new season of Digimon news is something.
Yeah,
like,
it's something.
It's real content.
Yeah, like I've been thinking about, I don't think I want another Atmon, because what if they ruin it?
It's already ruined. It started ruined.
What Atmon?
Oh, no, well, it actually started ruined and then they unruined it. That was pretty impressive.
It started ruined as in, like...
The concept was bad.
The concept was bad, but then, like, the early episodes were good and there were some okay ones. But, yeah, it just got better and better and better and better. I liked Atmon, but I don't want them to do another season of Atmon because I'm scared they'd ruin it. Or make a bad season, which would make me not like Atmon. I don't know, just keep Atmon the perfect, beautiful child that it is. For LostinNewsLatelymon, there's a bit of a release schedule update. So I mentioned how I was going to try to mess around with the schedule somewhat so we could have the parts sort of like the part finish and part starting sort of align with how they are. So to do this, for episode 149, which is releasing July 14th, we'll only cover 2 episodes.
Oh, thank God.
No, don't party just yet. So that's episodes 29 and 30. So this is to, as I mentioned, to better align the episodes of Cross Wars so that we start each season, or part rather, on a new episode.
And so why am I not celebrating?
Because of this, episode 165, which is releasing on the 23rd of February, will cover 4 episodes.
This is lies. We're not doing that. We'll just do 2 and 2.
I mean, this is subject to change, but so this
Yes,
is...
we're subjecting it to change right now.
It's only one more extra one. We get, like...
I'm already dying with 3, okay? Dying.
So the episodes 76, 77, 78, and 79. So this is the...
We'll be split over 2 episodes.
But
Looking forward to it.
No, but these are the last episodes.
We'll be split over 2 episodes.
These are the last episodes ever of Digimon, though.
You know what?
Yeah?
As much as I think to myself, you know what? Waiting, making sure, like... Okay, hold on a second. I guess the question is, are they one giant episode?
Yes.
The Avatar Last Airbending me.
Yeah, so that's why...
It's way harder to argue. You should have opened with that, by the way.
Sorry, so these episodes of, like, the reason why...
It's a movie.
Yeah, more or less the reasons why I chose these episodes are because 29 and 30 are 2 episodes together, and 76 to 79 are 4 episodes. They are... And people argue that these are the only 4 episodes that are worth watching in the entirety of Hunters, because the rest is Monster of the Week. And I would agree, but I also like Hunters, so...
I want to die.
So
There's so much Digimon still to go.
Yeah, so we don't have a movie for Cross Wars, but these...
Thank God.
So we do have to watch these 4 episodes. So, yeah. But they are basically will be discussed as one whole episode in the actual recording, because they are one whole episode. A lot of Hunters, unlike Cross Wars, where we've had Cross Wars being like, okay, these 3 episodes, then these 2 episodes, then these 3 episodes, being like more or less a contained mini arc, as I've been calling them. Hunters is basically just like Monster of the Week, every episode is different, except for these 4. So that's the reason why I've grouped these 4 together, and I haven't tried to group any episodes up. I mean, hypothetically, we might split them out into 2, depending on how Jay feels or how I feel. So it is subject to change, but at the moment, this is how I've set it up. So the release schedule has been fixed to display this, and I also made a blog post about this, I think, last week, and it has more updates about the schedule, like what day we'll be finishing it on, hypothetically, and how the episodes will go, basically. So the post that I had, as I mentioned, had more details, but for reference, we'll be done with part 1 on the 14th of July, and we'll be starting part 2 on the 28th of July, unless anything changes during that time. But that's sort of what we're looking at the moment. And so if you want more details about the start and end dates of different arcs, you can view the post for more info. It's on our blog. But that's more or less like a quick rundown, also because I wanted to run it down with Jay as well. Are you excited for only having to watch 2 episodes in the near future? Excited
is the wrong word, but relieved, maybe.
Well, according to, I'd say, the majority of the fandom, the best part of Cross Wars, besides the manga, is the second part. So that's something, right?
I honestly didn't understand what you said.
You have the Cross Wars in 3 parts. People say that the second part's
it's in
the
3
best.
parts?
Yeah, I told you that.
Maybe?
Yeah. Hunters is the 3rd part. Yeah.
Do we have to cover that?
Yeah. That's episodes 76, 77, 78, and 79. That's like the end of Hunters.
Oh. Sorry, existential crisis. Let's move on.
So every part of Cross Wars is like 25 episodes, I guess, on average. Anyway, speaking of finishing things, we also finished Lane last week, and we're hopefully finishing next week. We're set to record this weekend, and as I said, I will try and I will endeavour to have this episode uploaded for everyone the morning of June 6th Australian time. That's my birthday, by the way. Because I'm busy that weekend and will not be able to possibly have a podcast out that weekend. So that's my aim at the moment. Hopefully it's not delayed. I would like to not have it delayed. That's why I'm doing it early. So that's exciting. We're finishing Next. I like Next. And the last bit of Lost in NewsLatelymon was that I recorded Shoujo and Tell, which is a shoujo manga podcast with Ashley from Prodigious, and we spoke about the pre-tier manga. The episode is set to come out, she said sort of like in maybe a couple of weeks or a month, because she's getting like a backlog and she's releasing like every couple of weeks with an episode. We talked about pre-tier. I will definitely link it and retweet it and post about it when the episode comes out. But I really like pre-tier, and I'm glad that I could finally talk about pre-tier with someone. I've never read the manga. I was only watched the anime, but then I read the manga for the podcast, and that was pretty exciting. Yeah, I like shoujo manga.
This is you're far too into this.
What do you mean? It's good.
Way too into this.
I like shoujo and shonen. I love everything. I like things. And on to Obnoxious Synopsis. So the first episode that we'll be watching this week is called Train of Terror, or Dust Zone, Grand Locomon's Big Scrap City. What do you think will happen in this episode?
Here it is, the big crossover with Frontier that everyone was looking forward to.
Oh no. No Frontier, please. I mean, it does sound like that episode of Frontier, right? The train graveyard.
Yeah. Wait,
Though
am I thinking the wrong season with all the trains?
Yeah, that was Frontier, and they had an episode about the train
Well,
graveyard.
it doesn't just sound like Frontier's one episode. It sounds like the entire season.
Well, to be fair, the trains in Frontier were Trailmon, not Locomon. Locomon was actually in the Tamers movie.
Yeah.
It's a different Digimon, completely.
Sure it is.
Definitely. Please take my word for it. It's a different Digimon. There sure is a difference. For starters, their name's different.
What about Locomon and Locomon? Those were different Digimon.
What was the other one you said that wasn't Locomon?
No, I also said Locomon.
Oh,
because they had
legitimate.
different shapes.
No, those were the Trailmon.
That's what I meant. Yep, same thing.
So what do you think will happen besides Frontier?
Dude, I don't know. I honestly, if I was gonna guess that the big revolver dude would show up in any episode, it'd be this one. But he's already here.
Revolver dude?
There's a Digimon who's
Revolmon.
shaped like a revolver. How do you not know this?
Oh, you mean Revolmon, right?
Oh, the guy with revolver in his name.
Yeah, legitimate. Do you think anything will annoy you in this episode?
Trains. I've got nothing. It doesn't tell me enough.
So, do you think it'll be a good episode, or can't you tell?
I think it'll be terrible just because it sounds boring. Oh yeah, I forgot why they went there. They went there to help save Nene, so there's some stuff going on.
Yeah.
Some kind of train chase. There might be a fight on top of a train, because how could you resist ever not doing that?
Right.
But I got nothing for you.
What rating?
5.
Filler or not filler?
Not filler. They're doing stuff. Just boring stuff.
Right. The second episode we're watching this week is called Disaster in the Dust Zone, or Decisive Battle, Dark Knightmon vs. Crossheart. What do you think will happen in this episode?
The only thing this tells me is that at some stage here, they're going to start like the final fight against Dark Knightmon, and it's most likely that at the end of this one, it'll look like they've beat him, and then he'll... I know it's going to be like the last time Nene helps him, and he's going to evolve with something else. Like, I could imagine that she, like, forces him to cross with, what's it called? With, the jet plane?
Sparrowmon.
Yeah, that one. And that would
friend.
be, like, a whole emotional thing. Have you ever seen a Digimon cross with something when they didn't want to? Whoa. It's just like that actually good show, Steven Universe.
And do you think anything will annoy you in this episode?
If it is just a straight-up boring fight of nothingness.
Right. So do you think it'll be a good episode?
Not really. It'll be better than the last one, though, I guess.
Hopefully. Hopefully all episodes are better than the episode before them.
Ideally, but that's never been the history with this show, because it started well, and then didn't continue.
Well, I'm glad that you think it started well, because, like, I was worried that you would hate it from episode 1. Like, I'm pretty sure you did with Frontier.
It took until episode 3.
Yeah. So, any rating?
6, I guess. I did think it would be better.
Filler or not filler?
No, I guess not.
And the third episode that we're watching this week is called Lost in Digital Space, or Wisemon, The Secrets of the Digital World, or the Digital World, as Jay will say.
Maybe.
What will happen
You
in
don't
this
know.
episode? I do know, because you said in the last episode in the outro.
What
Anyway,
I will say. What if I
no,
say
well-
the digital world?
Oh, that's true. So what do you think will happen in this episode?
So, this reminds me a lot of, like, I'm thinking of, like, Adventure, when they go to, like, Genai's house, and it sort of decontextualizes all the problems that are going on. Also in Frontier, I think, when they get the whole backstory thing, when they go through the big Hall of Orbs. Basically, that's sort of, like, center point of every season, where the kids are, like, told by somebody, by the way, this is what's up. And it's, like, maybe they don't even beat Dark Knightmon in the last episode. Maybe they get, like, punched. Oh, wait, no, hold on a second. Taiki got, like, abducted, didn't he?
Yeah, at the end of the last episode we watched last week.
Alright, I'm thinking it's like the kid. Oh man, that'd be cool. The other kids, as Crossheart and stuff, I guess, fight Dark Knightmon, those other 2 episodes. And then in this one, you sort of cut back to where Taiki is, and he's in this other zone being told what's going on, because he's the only main character and the only one that matters.
Kiriha's the main character.
Barely.
He's a friend, and I love him.
Barely.
Do you think anything will annoy you in this episode?
If the secrets that are revealed are boring and stupid, I guess. That's pretty easy.
Fair. Do you think it'll be a good episode, though?
Oh, yeah. I think there's a reasonable baseline going on here. I just don't think its execution is very good.
What rating?
Let's give it an incredibly optimistic 7 and be disappointed.
Wow. I remember bits about this episode, but I don't remember if it was good or not. Which is how I feel about a lot of episodes from Cross Wars. Like, I remember sort of details, but I don't remember what's good and what's not. I do remember, like, things that are quite good.
Is that because you've never been any sort of judge of what is or is not good? After all, you like Digimon.
I feel like Cross Wars has always been just, like, functional okay, not, like, dysfunctional okay. Because, like, for example, Try, I would say, is dysfunctional okay. And then in terms of functional okay, I would say Adventure is functional okay. Perhaps a little bit on the boring side in some episodes. So I think Cross Wars is functional okay, if that makes sense.
More or less.
Yeah. It is very like, oh, it sure exists, and there are bits that are good, but there are bits that are just okay, and there's a lot that's okay. I think I've said that a lot, but I really like Cross Wars, having said that. Like, I really do enjoy it, because I feel like it does try to do new things with the franchise in general, and I know I like the Generals, and I like Sparrowmon. Anyway, so Lost in Digital Space, filler or not filler?
It can't be, really.
Any further predictions?
No, I think I really touched on all the stuff that I could pick up from this.
Then we can go on to the show then.
Alright.
On to the show.
I mean, aw.
The episodes we're covering together this time are episode 20 and 21. Arguably, we could probably discuss all three, but the third one is sort of distinct enough that we won't. So, episode...
we won't discuss it? Great!
Yeah, it never happened. Even though it had Arkadimon from the manga.
Even though we somehow teleported into the Naruto zone.
Yeah, called Shinobi Zone. Very exciting. But anyway, that's in a bit to talk about now.
Wasn't Naruto popular enough in the West by this point? It's like 2011, right?
Yeah, this came out in 2011, yeah.
Wasn't Naruto popular enough that they didn't have to call it the Warrior Zone?
Yeah, I don't know. I think by 2011, the kids had stopped watching Naruto.
Well, that means it was at the height of its popularity.
Well, I think...
Because it had transitioned into adults.
Yeah, but I don't think adults watch Cross Wars was, like, especially Fusion, that was aimed at young kids who probably haven't gotten up to watching Naruto yet.
What it means is that ninjas should have a presence in the West enough that it's not like, oh, ninjas, that's a weird Japanese thing.
Yeah, it's a difference, but what about Angemon, though?
That's different. That's just the name of an individual Digimon.
It's weird. They changed things. It's weird. They made Revolmon blue.
I know, but why not? Why warriors instead of ninjas?
Because Fusion seriously seems to be taking its demographic and just saying, these are babies.
What I would like, actually, is if, like, it's my version, but the opposite, where they go, man, we would have called it the Ninja Zone, but it looks way too much like Naruto, and they think we were stealing from it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because this is the Naruto ninja look. I don't think it's in, maybe it is an older anime, but I feel like it's really, like, homogenized into this.
Oh, it's very Naruto-esque.
Narutesque.
So at the start of the episode, in the dub, Mikey adds on all aboard to the episode title. I don't know, but it's definitely Train of Terror, and that's what it says on the screen, but he adds all aboard like it's part of the title. Because it sounds like he's reading it and not saying, like, all aboard, Train of Terror, or something like that. And he's like, Train of Terror, all aboard, Train of Terror. Like, I don't know, it's strange. I don't know, it was a weird difference. Like, they almost wanted to change the title to it. I don't know.
I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't follow that part. Like, in the sense that I understand what you said, I didn't notice them reading the title out.
Okay.
I usually skip until just about when the animation begins.
That's fair. So this episode carries on from episode 19, and we find out that the person who has stolen Taiki away is Dark Knightmon. And Taiki's lost his crossloader, which is hilarious because the same thing happens in 2 episodes.
Yeah, no, it's like a legitimate... For just a moment, it makes it feel like the entire Dust Zone was a waste of time.
Yes.
Because they're like, okay, so Taiki's separated and he loses his crossloader with everyone else. Okay, he gets them back, he joins them, and then he gets separated and loses his crossloader with everyone else.
Yeah, and I feel like they could easily have just led episode 19 to episode 22. It's like they said, hang on, we want them to have more code crowns. Or, hey, we want to have Kiriha have some moments and, like, declare that Taiki's good enough to be his rival.
You have to have that moment where you introduce the orb and move Nene around.
Yeah.
That's what the entire episode is for.
Yeah.
But then it's like they wrote the whole thing, and then Arkadimon is those purple tentacles, and then they realized that they needed to move her around, so they wrote 2 more episodes.
Yeah, but they still had someone taking Taiki away. Yeah, no, you're right. That's exactly how I felt about it, because for me, those things had sort of combined.
Well,
like,
you know how you know that especially?
Yeah.
That tower doesn't belong in the dust zone.
Oh no, it does not fit at all, in the slightest. Like, it's like Darknightmon built it, like purpose built it. I don't think he had the time to do that, but I guess it's the digital world, and we have like an entire train going through like a sewage system. So
Did you catch what Darknightmon's motivation is in the English version?
Don't think so. What is it?
It is the strangest thing, because Darknightmon obviously has been present in all the other zones, and he's been around with Nene, and he can travel between the zones because he has her cross-loader, more or less, right?
Yes.
So why is it that he yells, he says, "Soon the Dark Loader will be complete, and then my exile in this pathetic zone will finally be over"? Why does he say that?
That's strange, because he's gone to multiple zones.
And it appears that his reason for making the Dark Loader is to get out of the zone. And I think they're doing that because, like, you know, the motivation of the bad guys to get a cross-loader and to get out of the zone. So they're, like, mirrored in that way. Mm-hmm. But this guy's making his own one.
Yeah.
But he's not stuck there. He just arrived.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's a dub mistake that they made.
Yeah, it feels like it. Also, the Dark Loader, before it's called that, did you catch the new name that Batman gave it?
What?
The Blazing Orb.
Oh, no, in the dub, that's been the name for like a couple of episodes, and...
What, has it? I missed that.
in the dub. He's in basically the Heaven Zone episode. I'm pretty sure everyone says Blazing Orb about 50 times in the entire episode. It was really annoying.
Are you sure?
Yep, but that's his name. And it was it's spawned from the orb that Lucimon Satan mode has. Like, that's the Blazing Orb that they were talking about. And now
Gehenna.
Pardon?
Gehenna.
Yeah, but they changed in the dub to the Blazing Orb, and this was a shard of the Blazing Orb.
I thought it was called something else.
I think it was a Blazing Orb in the dub.
The Blazing Orb. Hold on, I have notes about this. I can find out.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was pretty confident about it, but, like, I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Was that 2 or 3 episodes ago?
It was definitely more than that, I think, because we went to the zone with Decadramon last 2 weeks ago.
Okay, it's this one, and the English version, not that one. How about there?
I know I made notes about it.
Thought I did. Heaven Zone... It's going to be Dark Knight Digimon Arrives, isn't it?
I don't remember.
Or it's when Lucimon's superpowers up. That's this one. Oh well, that's on me, I guess. I thought I wrote down... maybe it is in this one. Clash in the Clouds. Is it that one?
I don't remember, dude.
I just want... Oh, yep, it's Blazing Orb. You're right. Look at that.
And also they said Phantom Mist a lot. I'm also looking. It's episode 17. They call it Phantom Mist. Is the darkness.
Yeah, I found it.
And Blazing Orb is the orb.
Dankness.
Yeah, the dankness.
Anyway, like, then Taiki touches the thing,
and because Darknightmon says, "Hey, you need to touch that thing to rescue Nene," and I'm just like, "Well, that's clearly a trap." Like,
well, it's interesting because it's kind of not.
But you know what?
It is.
But I know,
but not for him.
You could easily say, "Oh man, this character's so dumb. Why would he do whatever this bad guy's telling him to do? Like, why would you ever do that?" Because it's Taiki, and he's literally saying, "Hey, go help this person," and Taiki's just like, "Yes, okay." If it was any other character, like. I don't know.
This episode was fantastic for showing Taiki's, like, obsession with helping people.
Yeah, and that it's dangerous, because imagine, let's even say Daisuke or Takado, even Takado, like, have them say, "Hey, touch this orb." Daisuke would say, "No." Hikari's in, what about if Hikari's in there? You're a bad guy, not gonna trust you.
If I touch the orb, that's like I'm touching Hikari.
Hikari's orbs. Ew. Anyway, but the fact that Taiki goes forward and touches it, even though the bad guy's telling him to, that's like, it's completely understandable because it's Taiki. Because it's like, oh yeah, well, Taiki would do that. Because we've shown that this need to help people is unhealthy and will probably bite him on the ass more times than it won't. Like, I don't know. I appreciate the fact that they're going like balls to the wall here in terms of Taiki's bad habit. I like it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, especially later in the episode. So he touches the thing, and there is a distinction here, which is when it doesn't activate. In the Japanese, it's, there's no darkness in him. And I go, okay, sure. In the English, it's, he's too pure.
Yeah, which is a difference.
They are very different.
Yeah, it's
being not evil versus being too good are very different things.
But I don't know, like, Taiki, does have a bit of an issue. Like, I would say that his bad habit is, like, I don't know, it's not good. I don't like it. But it is good. Like, it's not a good. I don't know. But yeah, I see what you're saying about the difference. Also, Dark Knightmon throws him out a window.
I mean,
The series could have
you
ended.
can't just stab him.
Yeah.
Throw him out a window.
Meanwhile, we see that there's a Pinocchimon in the hole, and he says, I don't want help. In the dub, he says that everyone should just abandon him because he likes it anyway. And of course, they added in the fact that his name is Pinocchiomon, and they made his nose grow, which Pinocchimon in Adventure never had. I don't know, I like it. I also like to see Pinocchimon.
I hate his new voice, though.
Oh yeah, I hate his new voice. I adored his voice in both versions in Adventure, like that sort of childish, bratty sort of voice. I don't know.
It was perfect at the time.
Yeah.
I think we've done a good job here as well, like initially making you not trust him.
Yeah. My favourite part, and I'm skipping a bit ahead here, is that the dub actually improves something when Puppetmon has just been saying, hey, don't trust anyone. You should never trust anyone. Don't trust anyone, especially in the zone. Never trust anyone. And then he realises that Taiki's got the crossloader, and he's just like, hey, you can trust me. And in the dub, they add in a line where Mikey says, hey, but didn't you just say not to trust anyone? And I'm just like, oh my God.
Did we skip over the bit where
in the
English,
sorry, I did skip over a bit, but I just wanted to get to that point because it was just my favourite point in the episode. But yeah, so the most important thing happens when besides what I just mentioned just then, but skipping back to where we were before, when Taiki is falling from the sky, Akari's just like, cushion, and then she picks up the large wolf and throws the large wolf. And
does she not realize he has big knives on him?
Yeah, also, but how much can she lift?
What if we got the weird version of this where he lands on the knife and just dies?
Yeah, he does have 2 knives in his shoulders and 2 knives in his butt, and also, like, drills coming out of his legs and drills coming out of his tail, and...
Taiki was really lucky not to die.
I think Akari has a good throw, definitely.
But the point is that when Taiki lands, Jeremy in the English specifically, goes, hey, how come Taiki landed later than the rest of us? Like, he didn't realize that he'd been abducted. And that meeting was such a short period of time that it's like, oh, he just landed later.
Yeah, he's
Weird.
a bit thick, though, isn't he?
He's an idiot, especially in the 3rd episode we're watching today.
Yes, especially in the dub. Because, like, I don't know, the dub really wants to make Jeremy seem dumb, but in the original, Zenjiro is not dumb. I mean, he's a bit silly, but he's not dumb. I don't know. They make all the characters dumb. It's weird. Anyway,
That's English.
The group gets mugged by a group of metal Marmimon, which is weird because they're all perfect levels and there's like 1 million of them. So that's terrifying. And then a Garbamon steals the crossloader and Taiki runs after them. I'd like to point out that in the dub, Garbagemon doesn't appear to actually try to steal it. He basically just pops out of his the bin and says, what's going on? Oh, hey. And he looks at his hand and he's like, he's just caught it. Like, he didn't realize he caught it. It was a mistake. And it's just really strange. I guess they were trying to make it seem less like they were being robbed, maybe? Because
they have to be friends later.
Yeah, but it was just...
Then he runs away.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like, it was like, hey, what's this? Like, it was like he didn't have the intention of stealing it in the dub, and I don't know. That's why you're not meant to trust anyone, because they're all mugging everyone. Also, their getaway vehicle is Kettletrailmon, which is the duck-looking one. I don't know, from Frontier. Do you remember Frontier?
I don't remember the duck-looking one. I thought that was unique to this.
No,
were the duck ones in Frontier?
Remember that the racing episode?
No.
There was an episode where they all raced, and it was basically wacky races.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, did you just blank out the entirety of Frontier?
Most of it.
You know what? That's reasonable. Pinocchimon says that if they got robbed, it's their own fault, and he says not to trust anyone. And also, while he's telling that he doesn't need help and not to trust anyone. Taiki helps him, like, sets him down from the cross.
Like, halfway through his sentence.
Yeah, it's almost like for some reason, it almost seems that there's a bit of skipped animation because all of a sudden, like, he's down. And just, like, Taiki's like, I helped!
He's helping out Puppetmon, and they all sort of go hang out, and he sort of convinces them... basically, he guides them over to where all the thieves are who have the crossloader, and I couldn't figure out...
You're missing out. So, basically, we find out that Pinocchimon drinks Digioil. And that there's a Grand Locomon that's in charge. And he makes people steal for the Digioil, like in sort of like this sort of commerce thing.
And then mechs in Japanese, and it's just like metal stuff in English.
Yeah. Pinocchimon hears that they have a crossloader, and then Pinocchimon's like, hey, you can help me. And then Taiki's just like, yes, I will help. And Akari says how it's Taiki's bad habit of helping. In the dub, Angie says that Mikey's getting ahead of himself, and I don't know why they had to change this, because he does have the bad habit in both versions. I don't know why they didn't comment on it. I enjoy when they comment on it, because it's just like, yeah, it is a bad habit. Like, it's like Akari's reminding the audience, this isn't a bad thing, this is...
I love that his hair gets all big. Like, it's a physical compulsion.
Yeah, it's like the Studio Ghibli, like, annoyed, frustrated thing where they go all poofy. Like, the hair goes...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a frilled neck lizard kind of thing. I don't know, it's really funny bit of animation. And this is the part where I mentioned before, where basically Pinocchiomon is saying how they should trust him, and in the dub, Mikey says, "But you just said not to trust anyone."
No, but you can trust me, though. I wouldn't lie to you. Boop.
Akari notices that the nose grows, and she recalls it's because she's so pretty, and then realizes that that's old men's eyes, not noses.
It's their upper lip, thought she said.
No, she said, oh no, that's old men's eyes is ogling women.
What am I remembering? I have no idea. Anyway, point being, yeah, she just, like, she sees the warning sign, and then just gets it completely wrong, and then it's dropped forever.
Yeah. They can't make up their mind if Akari is smart or dumb.
Well, not here she isn't.
No. In the dub, he says, that must mean he's got lots of secret powers. But then again, a growing nose is a secret power, so she's even dumber in the dub. I don't know why, but that sure is a thing.
Man, the show is bad.
It's okay.
It's not.
I'm enjoying it.
Let's not lie to ourselves.
So Crossheart finds Garbamon, and I would like to point out that in the dub, Garbamon doesn't actually realise what the crossloader is worth until Toy Agumon says so. In the original, he is fully aware of what it is and what it does, and that Grand Locomon wants it.
I actually thought he wasn't aware in the original, just it was valuable generally and it was the same.
Yeah, but I don't think in the dub, it's just like he's not sure. Like, he's not even sure what it's worth. Like, he doesn't think it's anything.
It's pretty small.
So Taiki comes in and is like, I'm going to end Grand Locomon's reign. And then like, sure, you can have your crossloader back. But then, of course, Pinocchiomon...
He just talks them into giving it to him.
Yeah. I think it's because it shows that these are thieves, but they're only thieves because they've been drawn to thievery because they had to. Like, oh, they need Digioil. That's what they need to survive. Everyone's in poverty in this zone. They steal to survive, basically.
I think the themes here are interesting in that, like, it's all about trust.
Yeah.
And they trust Taiki immediately, and that would have solved all of the problems. But because Pinocchiomon doesn't have that trust, that's why he screws everything up.
Yeah. I don't know. I do like this sort of trust thing. I don't know. I love Taiki. He's just so, like, he's such a good child. I love him.
He is a good.
Anyway, Pinocchiomon comes in and steals a crossloader because he says he wants to leave the zone. Meanwhile, Dark Knightmon is looking at the blazing orb and says it needs more darkness. Kiraha shows up and he's like, hey, we should team up. And Dark Knightmon tells him that Nene's in the orb. And then Kiraha touches the orb and obviously has some darkness in him. And the darkness loader has begun to form. And then, in the original, we get the opening, like, intro halfway through the episode, which is, it takes you sort of off guard when it happens, like, in the middle, like, not even at the middle, like, towards the end of the episode, like, we're, like, I want to say 75% way through, like, my notes at the moment.
But when that happens, I feel really happy, because I'm like, oh yeah, I can just skip another 2 minutes of the episode.
Oh,
great!
True.
Feels awesome.
Arkadimon, who is probably one of my favourite Digimon that doesn't get enough love, is checking to see if the crossloader is real, which is, I appreciate, because we previously saw that Ballistamon can make fakes. So, I don't know, I sort of appreciate this bit, because it's just like, yeah, well, you should check to see if it's fake. I don't know.
Yeah, can't Ballistamon just make tons of stuff and get Digioil forever?
Yeah, but that's
Alternatively, isn't Ballistamon a mech that you would trade for Digioil?
We don't want to trade Ballistamon, he's our friend, you can't trade friends.
You can.
Oh no.
Fish are friends and food. Depends on the circumstance.
Don't trade me for Digioil. Please.
Are you a make?
What if I am? I'm a make. So Grand Locomon says he's the only one that'll be leaving the zone, and Digimon can't travel in between zones, but trains can if they're Digimon. I don't know, it was weird. I guess if he
maybe
goes
he's
super
going fast enough?
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's
Or maybe
the
he doesn't know that.
Because we know Beelzemon can also travel between zones, so maybe he can fly fast enough, or maybe he can fly out of them. I don't know.
I assume that Beelzemon could because he was... because he was, like, with Taiki the whole time.
No. He said, like, he can just go between zones. Like, that's why he just shows up sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
He's not on the crossloader. He just kind of shows up. So when they're on the train trying to get it to stop, Zenjiro was going to work on the train to make it faster, which I know I've said this a few times, but I love that they actually made him useful by giving him sort of this, like, he's a mechanic. Yeah, he's also, like, a swordsman, but he's a mechanic. Like, he likes tinkering with things. He tinkers with Ballistamon, and now he's going to tinker with this train. Akari says she will help, and she has a bigger wrench. In the dub, Jeremy asks for a bigger wrench, and Angie says, how's this?
You can't do mechanics on a train while it's moving. You'll die.
Well, it worked. Like, they just put the tool in the way, right? That's physics.
Also, I'm concerned by, like, them jamming metal objects into this Digimon's guts.
It would hurt, like, potentially.
You think?
Yeah. Taiki says that Pinocchimon should trust his friends, and Pinocchimon says he can't trust his friends. And then his nose grows. In the dub, Mikey says it's cool to help out your friends, and Puppetmon just says that he doesn't have it in him, and then his nose grows.
Isn't that cute?
I prefer the original line, where he says, I don't think I can trust my friends. But I do like this sort of, like, moment where his just nose grows at this cute moment. I don't know, it's really nice.
That's the payoff for him having that ability, because otherwise it would have been, like, literally pointless.
Yeah, it's worth it. So Pinocchimon gets the cross-loader back, and Taiki gets cross 4, and is able to defeat Grand Locomon.
Actually, let's take a step backwards, and I just realized something.
Yep.
This is like an element of Pinocchimon's design, right? Which is the extendable nose.
Yeah, and the fact that he's Pinocchio.
This is the first time that extendable nose has ever been relevant to this character in any season.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure I mentioned that at the start of the episode, but yeah, Adventure did not have the nose, did he? Like, he had the nose, but he didn't have the growing nose.
Like, it was the same design that it could be extendable, but
Yes.
it never happened.
Yes, correct. I like it. I like that they actually added to this Digimon that we already had as a character. I know. I appreciate when they do things that are innovative, sort of. It's an obvious innovation, but whatever. Then there's a giant explosion, and it's Gasp, Black Knightmon, and Kiriha. My favourite line is in the dub, where they say, what in the digital world was that? I don't know, because it's like What in the World, but it's the digital world, I guess. Also, I feel like every fortnight I forget that Kiriha's name in the dub is Christopher.
Because I just call him Yamato.
Yeah, but he doesn't remind me of a Christopher.
I mean, I guess? What does a Christopher look like to you?
I don't know. It just doesn't
You
feel...
can't just make really broad statements like this and not back it up.
I don't know, it's like one of those names of, like, you know, someone who's not a nerd, but is kind of, like, cool, but also nice. Like, Kiriha's kind of like, I don't know, I feel like he's more of a Chad.
You can't have a meme name, okay?
Or a Craig. What about a Craig?
Craig's pretty terrible.
But, it's like, you can't give, like, the...
Chaz.
No, I think Chad's better. Because we got to go with the you know, Kiriha. And I guess Christopher sounds like he just doesn't seem like a Christopher to me. It's like
Chris. Chris?
Oh, that's better? That's better.
Yeah.
But Christopher, I don't know, I don't know. It's just...
What about Kirsten Dunst?
Kirsten Dunst, that's his name now. Kiriha Dunst. Anyway, the dub adds in this weird line where Axe Nightmon seems surprised that Mikey and Christopher know each other. And he says, oh, you know him? Well, that makes this interesting. And I'm just like, I thought that you've been in this season. I'm pretty sure you've seen them together before. And also, like, you know a lot of stuff. It's weird. Then we get the Digimon data collection, and I would really like to talk to you about the Digimon data collection for this episode. How would you say Atlas-Kabuterimon's name in English, by the way?
Atlas-Kabuterimon?
Atlas-Kabuterimon. Like, do you remember his name in English?
Hercules Kabuterimon, right?
No, that's the ultimate level. I'm talking about the perfect level. Atlas-Kabuterimon is, of course, Mega Kabuterimon.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
But never mind, that's not how they pronounce it.
What did they say?
Mega Kabootie Erimon.
Mega Kabootie Erimon?
Yep.
What?
Yep. I actually had to replay this several times. I'm just like, hang on, excuse me? Like, did I mishear this? But no, he says Mega Kabootie Erimon.
Get that Kabootie.
I don't know, it's just like, does he got the Kabootie? He do. That's just the weirdest thing. Like, I love Digimon data collection, but they just renamed a character, basically.
It's not nearly as fun anymore now that they've stopped having it in, like, the face of the screen.
Yeah, and they also have Monitormon, like, what I noticed in the dub is that they've made it sort of like a quiz, like, hey, can you remember this Digimon's name? And there's also the weirdness of Mikey, for some reason, saying, hey, listen to the sound of this Digimon that I just caught. Which is weird, because in the dub, they don't they don't have in that sound that the plays in the original version that you're meant to like capture on your crossloader toy. I know it's strange.
I don't understand your gibberish about loader toys.
I'm just so excited about the loader toy.
Go get 3 then.
Look, I want to get the Team Twilight one, but it was a lottery exclusive, and there was only like 4 of them, and they're like, And
yeah,
also,
listening.
Even the blue flare one's expensive. I have a lot of feelings.
If there are 4 in the world, how much are they each?
I've never seen one.
Okay, so there is no price attached to them.
Yes, there's no price.
Because most people got them, and then they were kids, and then they grew up, and they're like, I should throw this in the trash.
No, I feel like it was... I feel like people have them like as collector's items, but I've never actually seen them. It's a very rare one.
I bet the dump collects tons of them.
No, my heart.
Just travel to the tip, figure it out.
No, don't give me a tip. So episode 21 has the last time on, and Mikey says, after being trapped in this digital world for like ever, which is so out of character for Mikey. I don't know, it feels like more like something I'd expect Angie to say, like, oh, after being trapped in the digital world for like ever. Also, it's weird because it's not like they're leaving the digital world or anything big happened. It was just an episode, right?
Exactly.
But it's okay because the dub immediately
They're in exile.
He immediately fixes this by calling Grand Locomon a one-track wonder.
I was wondering.
Yeah?
If Grand Locomon goes to another zone, what happens if they don't have train tracks?
He builds them underneath his feet.
But he doesn't.
Probably Hagurumon would probably build them. That's probably why he's got him alongside. But you're right, it's never actually addressed what he would do.
Just arrives, he's like, I didn't give this any thought at all.
He just lands in some sand and just like, oh...
I guess I'm dead now.
I have a few regrets in my life.
No regrets.
So Crossheart escaped through a garbage chute, and they're all wondering why Kirihara joined them. In the dub, when Jeremy's sort of talking about why he thinks that Kirihara joined them or is evil or whatever, he mentions how he probably lost to Arkadimon, and he says in this really weird voice, he lost and now he has to pay the price. And I don't know why. It's just why. That's just, Also, Sparrowmon shows up. The best part of any episode.
I'm sure that made you happy. And then
Yeah.
Shoutmon called them yellow-bellied, which I'm like, yeah, that's reasonable.
But also, Shoutmon yells at her, and Sparrowmon looks so offended. Like, Shoutmon's just doing his, like, weird, lots of teeth yelling at face thing, and Sparrowmon's just like, well, I don't know, her face is just so offended, it's so heartbreaking. Sparrowmon explains that Nene is only doing evil things because of her brother, and people should help because she's trapped. Meanwhile, Laylamon and Darmimon are here, and Laylamon meets Dark Knightmon. In the dub, it seems that Laylamon cares a lot less than Lilithmon. Lilith seemed like a little bit intimidated by him, but Laylamon is just sassing him, like, a little bit. I don't know, it's just weird. Like, Lilithmon seemed to be able to understand his power, and Laylamon is not able to.
In both circumstances, I felt like when they saw the big attack, they were like, I'm gonna leave now.
Dark Knightmon says they should temporarily join forces until they kill Taiki, and then they are immediately thinking about how they'll kill each other afterwards. Which
is weird because, like, their interests are totally different. They may as well help each other legitimately.
Yeah.
Like, what does Dark Knightmon care about the Code Crowns? He's not even interested in them.
No. He does not care about them.
And why would Lilithmon betray this guy if he's just giving her what she wants?
Yeah, because she wants the Code Crowns.
Now, I understand if her thought process, and since we hear her thought process, we would know if this was the case, was like, oh, there's no way he's actually going to give them to me. You know, none of the other generals would. Yeah. So, ipso facto, I must betray him because he will betray me first. That makes sense, but she doesn't think that. Also, she's just like, I'll kill him anyway.
Also, she doesn't know that he's not interested in the Code Crowns.
Well, he sort of signals it because he says, I'll give them to you, right?
Yeah, but, like, she doesn't actually know that he doesn't actually care. But yeah,
they have a thought process about it.
They have no reason to kill each other. They both want different things at the end. This is just a common thing that's in their way. So, I had an Atmon moment in this episode where I was wondering, hey, if Kirihara is evil, why is Decadramon still with him? And then the original actually explains that Kirihara's Digimon are also under the spell, not just Kirihara. And I really, really appreciate that, because I was really confused, because Decadramon just like, I am this good guardian and I will only go to someone with like true heart. And now he's with evil, but he's also under control, so that's fine.
Is he?
Yeah, the original says. The original says, oh, Kirihara's not the only one. It's also all his Digimon. Okay,
because I'm like, I didn't really get why they were fighting alongside him. It didn't seem like there was any good reason.
Yeah, because they're also under control. However,
but why?
The dub doesn't have this. The dub just says they're listening to Christopher, not
And,
that
like,
they're under control by whatever is controlling Kiraha.
When you control a Digi-Destined, you control the Digimon. How come he doesn't control Sparrowmon?
I don't think he's actually got Nene, like, under the control like he has Kiraha under his control. Like, Nene is still able to make conscious decisions and actions. Kiraha's not.
What is that meant to tell us about Kiraha, then?
He's being brainwashed, basically, but more or less my point is that I appreciate that they actually said that the Digimon were being controlled as well.
Well, because it's otherwise quite nonsense.
Yes. Also, I have a complaint about the dub, is that Christopher's voice goes from being normal to being monotone. Like, the original...
Yeah, because he's, I am hypnotized.
Yeah, but then it's also, no, normal as in, he shows up and he talks to Taiki in a completely normal voice, and then his voice goes monotone, and then it happens again, like, he goes normal, and then, like, he goes monotone. It's just really strange.
It's okay, you know who'll solve this problem?
Masaru
will.
Yeah. The punching. So,
it's a great punch. It punches the mind control out of his brain.
Kiraha's attacking Crossheart, and Taiki says the look in Kiraha's eyes is like he's being controlled by someone. Akari asks who, and Zenjiro, the precious, sweet cinnamon roll that he is, says, not me. It's funny. In the dub, he says, so Christopher's a drone? It's not as funny. Taiki tells Kiraha off, and he punches him, which is sort of edited a little bit in the dub, but he still punches him. And then we get a brief flashback. Dark Knightmon commands Kiraha to attack them, and Kiraha turns back to normal in a pretty cool scene where he says...
He just points, and Taiki, like, marks out.
Yeah, and he says, we are blue flare, and it's really nice. In the dub, instead of we are blue flare, he says, open fire on Axe Knightmon. It's not as cool. It's nowhere near as cool as, like, we are blue flare. I like it. I'm excited. Kiraha also tells Taiki to not to stand there when Taiki's just, like, so proud of his punch, and he's just like, Kiraha's good again! He's just not helping at all, so Kiraha's like, hey, do you want us not to stand there? In the dub, he says, hey, Mikey, you better help out. So Taiki makes cross 4.
No, my magic fists will solve the problem.
Yeah, that's what Masaru, like, this is the turning point where he could have just become Masaru for the rest of the show. Where he's learning, hey, it helped Kiraha, and he just starts punching things to, like, get rid of his problems. That'd be cool. So Taiki leaves to help Nene on Sparrowmon, and Nene says it's none of their business. Taiki tells her that Kiraha said that sorrow makes strength, but he says that she should share sorrow and overcome it together.
I think that's a really interesting take.
Yeah, like, you can sort of see both sides. In the dub, Mikey says that strength won't fix weakness, and they can overcome it together. And then,
and her weakness is that she loves her brother. That's put really well.
Yeah, it just... I don't know, so I think sorrow is a better way of describing it, because it's not a weakness, she's sad.
Well, I think what he's trying to say is that's her vulnerability.
Yeah.
Right? And that she's addressing it wrong.
Yeah.
But he doesn't say that well in the English.
No.
Because they're trying to stick to the original and say a new thing.
Yeah, and the worst part is when he thinks to himself afterwards, I hope she buys that. I don't know, it's just like, it almost says that Mikey doesn't believe what he's saying. It's weird. And then they fly off on Sparrowmon together, and I have this shocking realization that I know I've mentioned a few times that the Sparrowmon figure has Cross5's head up her bum. Apparently that's just Sparrowmon's design. She just has Cross5's head up her bum.
No.
It's just... I think I sent you a screenshot, Jay, of it. And
I didn't understand it.
Yeah, it just shows that it's really strange, and it's a really weird design.
It just looks kind of similar. That's the tail feathers, right?
No, it is Cross5's head.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely is in the figure, because you can take off the head, and it's just like, there's his face. But in the design, it's actually there. That's a thing.
No.
Yeah.
Can we not put X5's head up the butts of other Digimon?
Apparently we are now. That's just the thing that happens. Alright. So that was my shocking realization. Then Taiki makes Cross5, because their head goes out from Sparrowmon's hoo-ha.
It's called the Cloaca.
Cloaca. Oh yeah, because she's a bird. Very good. Laylamon is going to murder Taiki from behind, and Pinocchiomon saves him and gives him the Metal Garurumon Digimemory. Then I want to talk about the dumbest design I've ever seen in the entirety of Digimon. And
do you mean the cross between Cyberdramon
yes,
and Metal
I
Greymon?
do. Oh my god.
A design I can only describe, and I do not use this term lightly, but I do describe it as an abortion of a design.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't look right, does it? It just says, hey, we wanted to cross these two together, so we just kind of put one on top of the other, and it's now a gun.
Then we squiggled on it a little bit.
Like, I own the male Bergermon and the Greymon and the Crusadermon toy. I just don't want to make this awful, awful design of a cross. I feel like the other designs of the crosses have been quite clever. I mean, Dorulumon being used as the guns, that's a bit dumb, but it's not like, oh, it just is a chest thing. I don't know, it's strange, it is weird. I don't know why they had to design it like that. I feel like they could have gone about it in a better way. They obviously didn't want to. Dark Knightmon says he has no use for Nene anymore, and then he says he has a Darkness Loader, and then he's able to cross himself with Skull Greymon and Skull Satamon. And I want to point out that in the dub, Mikey calls the Axe Knightmon Pointy Head.
Also, can't we just say that the Demon Core?
Skull Greymon wasn't in the Demon Core though.
Oh, right, yeah, so he just looks like the other one.
Skull Satamon was.
Yeah, I guess that's the one I recognised first. And the other was like, that looks thematically appropriate.
Nah, Skull Greymon was just... he was also in 02, but he was because of the Agumon bad evolution. So, Laylamon in the dub says that she wants to find out where Axe Knightmon does his shopping, because she also wants the Darkness Loader. Oh, and then Laylamon just leaves. Like, she just says,
because
hey...
she's a big scared.
This seems bad. I'ma leave.
I'll pick this up later.
So then they're big attacks, and of course, because we learnt that the Code Crowns are basically really super plot convenient things, it just shows up. Which is fine, because I know that like 20 episodes, probably not 20, maybe 15 episodes ago, Dorulumon just said, maybe it'll just show up, and like that's just the thing that Code Crowns do, they just sort of show up when it's relevant. I don't know, it's interesting. Kiraha says that he's no longer Taiki's subordinate, but he's back to being his rival. And it's just sort of this really nice sort of accepting moment. In the dub, he's grumpier.
Well, for him,
yeah.
And to me, it seemed salty, like you punched me in the face, and I was in a vulnerable position, so like aggressive macho stance. Because Taiki's like, hold on, wait, what? That makes no sense, and also it makes no sense.
Oh no, in the dub, it's definitely some anger and salt, but in the original, like it almost seemed like I'm now your rival, but it seemed like
because that's what he said.
Yeah, but it's in a nicer way than the dub is just like he just seems salty and grumpy.
He stormed off. I feel I can see why they interpreted it that way, unless like rival has a more specific Japanese cultural meaning.
I don't know. I think it's more.
But he does say enemy.
It's like a friend thing. It's not enemy. It's like a rival friend.
He said we're enemies and rivals. That's what he says.
Yeah, that's in the dub though, right?
No, that's in the subs.
Oh. Anyway, then for some reason in the dub, Mikey says he's earned Kiraha's respect now. I'm not sure how we got that impression from the aggression that was just received, but alright. Buggeramon shows up. He's horrifying. He has a really horrifying design. And then in the dub, there's an added bit where he says he's never been to this realm, but he finally actually has to show up.
In Buggeromon's completely nonsense design that's like too much stuff thrown together.
Yeah, it's like they had a boardroom full of people and they said, hey, come up with some horror concepts for this bad guy. And they said, okay, his face should be melted off, basically. Skeletons.
Not melted off. He's wearing like half a mask. He's like Phantom of the Operaing it up.
He looks a bit like a Lich King sort of thing. Like, I don't know. He's on a throne.
What's his name? Who's the bad guy from Adventure, the first one?
Which one?
The one who's all dressed in black. The first one.
Devimon?
Yeah, he's got Devimon. He's got like one of Devimon's arms.
Oh yeah, because Devimon has the weird arm, yeah.
And he's holding onto Yggdrasil from X Evolution.
Yeah. No, he's got.
Is the chair part of him, or is he sitting on a chair?
I think he's sitting on the chair. Also, something I noticed about this episode is that I'm not sure if it was just me that I was just noticing this more, but was the animation really bad in this episode? Like,
the animation's bad in every episode.
No, but in this episode especially, had some weird facial expressions that weren't like. It just didn't look good. I don't know. The art wasn't that good in this episode compared to the other episodes. Maybe I was just noticing it more, but it just it was interesting. So then in the Digimon data collection, we have Stingmon. They make a bunch of references in the dub to his relationship with Lilamon because they're really milking that. So that was a thing. So what do you think of both these episodes as someone who is new to Digimon?
I don't know. So fine. I liked him when he punched Yamato. That was fun.
Yeah, I always do like a bit of violence. I know, and I liked it because it was also out of character for Taiki, but not like in oh that's horrible, because it was still to help people. it was just sort of like a bit of a, oh wow, that's serious. I don't know, it's I don't know, I really liked that moment.
The whole thing just felt really like I liked all of Taiki's stuff in the Dust Zone where he's like obsessed with helping people, and that was characterized really well. But my problem is that like the whole story of these two episodes felt really like thrown together for the sole purpose of getting Nene from point A to point B.
Yeah, and I think by themselves they're fine, but as soon as we will cover episode 22 in just a couple of minutes, it's just sort of, oh, they could have easily just removed these episodes. These episodes were just here to give Kirihara a bit of a moment and have moved Nene from being with Dark Knightmon to being with Team Crossheart.
But isn't it possible entirely that if you get to the next episode, it would be like this never happened for Kirihara? Like he could just forget this and nothing would ever change.
Yeah, I mean, like more or less the relationship would probably not have changed that much. He was always kind of like they will fight together, and they did fight together in the Decadramon episode. They fought together, so yeah, they didn't really need this part even for Kirihara. It was mainly just to move Nene. But by themselves, I like these episodes. How would you rate them?
The first one, for the story elements, I guess, was like a 6. And the second one, it did sort of just break down to a big, stupid set of fights, didn't it?
Yeah, but it was I really liked them.
It's like a 5, maybe.
I gave both 7s. I really liked both episodes. I like Taiki having this bad habit. I'm enjoying it. I don't know, I like these episodes, and I feel like I'm giving a lot of 7s, or maybe I'm giving a couple of 6s, but like, I don't know, these episodes are good. Also, second one had Sparrowmon in it, my favourite. How did it compare to your predictions in Obnoxious Synopsis?
Let me go find them. This one. So in the first one I thought that Crossheart would basically be alone in this first episode. There's no way I could have guessed that just Taiki just shows up immediately. So immediately that, what's his name? Jeremy just forgets that Taiki got kidnapped.
Yeah.
And in the second episode, I thought that was when Taiki would, like, show up and help. And then I also thought, like, you know, Nene would be part of this. And the forced cross evolution thing was technically true. I just thought it was Sparrowmon, not randoms.
Yeah. Not the sort of like more or less the monsters of the week sort of thing.
Yeah, and I rated them in reverse. Should have been 6 then 5, but I rated it 5 then 6.
Right. And what
which
were
was
the
big wrongs.
What were the major differences that you noticed?
In the first one, has to be my exile in this pathetic zone is finally over. Well, why? He was never exiled. He went there on purpose. And he can travel around whenever he wants. Dark Knightmon's weird. And in the second one, I think for me, it has to be when Taiki is talking to Nene in the tower, right? And yeah, he says something different, you know, which is about her weakness is her love for her brother. Yeah. But you can say that's similar enough. It's when it cuts to his own thought and he goes, oh man, I hope she buys it.
Yeah.
Like he's lying to her?
That was that was mine. Like it was.
Well, stolen.
He's less sure of the advice that he gives Nene. Like he's like, oh, I hope she buys that. Like that was that was the big standout one. Like altogether, there aren't that many differences that I'm noticing in this season. It's mainly just like dumb lines they're putting in. As for the first episode, it's the difference that I liked, which was Mikey calling out Puppetmon, like, hey, but you just said not to trust anyone. Like, I know, I liked that. Yeah, sure, I don't think Taiki would necessarily do that because he's just sort of like, he's the sort of guy to like help someone without actually asking any questions or giving any thinking or any thought towards who is helping and why he's helping them and why he's asking for their help. I don't know, I found it funny. So the third episode starts off with Team Crossheart and they're sitting around and Nana looks concerned. Zenjiro says she's bashful of being friends. In the dub, Jeremy says that she's lovesick because she loves him.
Wait, no, we're skipping over one of the worst things in this episode already.
Oh, really?
Right at the beginning, when they give the little map of where everyone is,
yeah,
you have a little chibi Bugramon face.
Oh yeah, they do that in like for all the evil Digimon. They just make them all chibi and adorable.
But this one just got introduced, and he's meant to be threatening, and then they ruin it immediately in the beginning of the next episode.
Yeah,
how are even children meant to take this bad guy seriously when cute little version of him is right there?
I like to think that these are like Taiki's drawings and he's drawing them like after the events of the season.
That is kind of funny.
Yeah, just because everything just seems very like drawn by Taiki or something because it's a bit cutesy. Like, oh, we don't know where Nene is, so we have her like, Nene is not in sign on the door. And it's always like, are they working together? I don't know. Like, it's very cutesy, yes. Yeah, it kind of like makes Bagramon less creepy, but I don't know. It's not actually part of the episode. It's just like an introduction. I don't know. I appreciate it. Nene wants to find you, so she tries to leave, but her crossloader doesn't work.
I'm right here.
And she passes out. You. I get it. You. Yeah.
I'll be here all Thursday.
Nene's exhausted, which is very much like the time Yoshino passed out in Savers. In the dub, Angie says, yeah, Jeremy, you're right. She's lovesick, but without the love. Thanks, Angie. That was important to say.
She's really helpful, okay? That's her job, to be helpful.
I would like to point out that the Monitormon are called TVmon, and they're like, no, it's Monitormon. I don't know. It was cute.
I do appreciate, though, that, like, Taiki's question it's in Japanese, like, oh, are you feeling unwell? Whatever. In the English, he goes, are you being bothered by Jeremy being a giant creep?
Yeah.
He thinks that's making her sick.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's being pretty weird. Like, in the original, it's just sort of, he's kind of, like, got a little bit of a crush on her, but in the dub, they made him obsessed.
It's obnoxious.
Yeah, just like, oh, it's more than just a little bit of a crush. He's dumb about it. Like, I don't know. They really turned it up to 11, and that's what they do in the dub, I guess. Monitormon says that they should take Nene to their hometown. Then, when they're traveling, Arkadimon from V-Tamer shows up. And for some reason, Jeremy's like, is that a toll booth? Or someone says, what's that? And he's like, a toll booth? Like, thanks, Jeremy. So Taiki's separated again, 2 episodes after the last time he was separated. Alright. And the crossloader goes with the others, like it did 2 episodes ago. So it turns out that LiTmon is the one who has Arkadimon. And then she says that he'll be floating between zones forever, and Arkadimon, who is called Arkadimon in the dub.
It's weirding me out that Arkadimon is here.
Because he was the big bad in V-Tamer?
Yes.
And because he gets cut in half in 1 episode?
Yes.
Yep.
And also they missed a fantastic opportunity. They introduced a very random Digimemory to solve this problem at the end. And
Darktramon is my favourite.
Darktramon?
I will not hear any negative words towards
Are you
Darktramon.
saying it wouldn't have been better to be cross Vidramon?
Oh, yes. It would be better to have, like, Erimon as a Digimemory, but the thing is... But then again, no.
It can be anything. You just introduce whatever you want.
I was literally about to say it has to be, like, a recognisable Digimon from another season, but Darktramon hasn't been in anything.
And neither has Arkadimon.
No, I mean, like, the Digimemories are usually, Gilmon, Patamon,
What's
Agumon.
Darktramon from?
Oh, my dreams. I love Darktramon.
Well, that was the saddest thing I've ever heard anyone say.
It's an evolution of Gigadramon, who evolved
Who?
from Airdramon.
Who?
Gigadramon and Megadramon are those big dragon things.
Oh yeah, those things that suck.
Offensive. That's offensive language, and I will not be having any of that. Anyway, so LiTmon says that Arkadimon will eat his friends. In the dub, she particularly says how she's learnt that any pain that comes to his friends they cause him a lot of pain, like, because of his weirdness. And then she says, well, you'll just have to watch your friends being hurt without being able to help. And then she sends him to float forever and not actually see it, which is really weird. But I do appreciate how she's actually referencing Taiki's bad habit. It's just in a really weird way, as I said, because she immediately sends him off in the opposite direction. He's not going to watch them and not being able to help. He's just going to know. I don't know. I feel like they could have phrased it better. A Wisemon grabs him and he calls Taiki a lab animal. Then Wisemon, when he's trying to dissect Taiki, faints from hunger. And in the dub, he's heard of the legends of the general with the red fusion loader.
How much of this is just most absurd plot convenience?
Oh, yeah.
So he runs into a random book and then, like, the Wisemon in there is cool with him, but then he's going to kill him.
Yep.
But then he collapses from hunger right before he kills him.
Yep.
And also, Wisemon does not understand the difference between wisdom and intelligence.
Yep.
I think it's fascinating.
Yep.
And then, I guess primarily, how... He's like, you should have been disintegrated outside, and then that's fascinating. But also, I've heard of you. Then he knows that Taiki wouldn't get disintegrated outside.
In the dub, it's more, he's heard of him before. I think in the original, he's just really curious about him and he hasn't actually heard of anything. Yeah. Like, he doesn't, like, in the dub, he's also like, and you're the one who can make digital fusion. Like, what? Like, in the original, it's just like, oh, You are different. You are a human. You're able to go there without disintegrating. That is interesting. I want to study you. I don't know what you are. In the dub, he knows what he is. He kind of like is a know-it-all. Like not in the way that like know-it-all. He's like a I don't know. I can't think of the word because it's late. But he just knows everything. I don't know. So Wisemon works hard and he forgets to eat. And then he explains why the book he live in can float between zones. Then
Because it's a big special, that's why.
Yeah. Also, the plot says so. It is the script. His book is the script. Taiki explains what happened to his friends, and Wisemon says his friends are all probably dead. Then we see where they are, and the friends are in Arkadimon's nest, and Nightmon's protecting them from Arkadimon, and I really do like this. They're all like holding up, and with the pawn chessmon as well, and it's really nice. I don't know why. It's just, I don't know, I like it.
It also doesn't make any sense. Because here's a question, right? Outside of the light bubble, right, you start to disintegrate?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you disintegrate inside it?
I
For example,
I think it's because
if you were
they're
in
actually,
space...
But they're inside a cave sort of thing. You can argue it's that, or you can argue it's because of the barrier that they have up.
What's disintegrating them, right? Isn't it just the area? There's still the area inside the bubble.
I don't know.
They enclosed more of the disintegrating stuff.
I think it must be the barrier then.
But it doesn't go all the way around them. It just covers the door.
I thought they were in like a cave and that was just covering the entrance of the cave.
Yeah, but why would the cave stop them from disintegrating?
I don't know.
Imagine you're in space, right?
Yep.
Okay, and you die because there's no air.
Yep.
If you suddenly have a bubble around you, it doesn't mean there's now air there.
Yeah.
You would die just as fast.
True. So Shoutmon leaves and then he starts to disintegrate. Then we go back to where the Bargra army are, and they've never actually met Bargramon apparently, which I find interesting. And it's almost implied in the original that Blastmon is in love with Bargramon, like the way he describes. I don't know. It's interesting.
It weirded me out that he'd never met Bagramon before. He's like, oh, it's the first time I'm seeing this guy.
But I am serving him.
Why does he work for him then?
Yeah. We find out that 108 code crowns exist. Tactimon has 26, Blastmon has 22, Lilithmon has 24. In the dub, Tactimon says Laylamon somehow acquired 24. I don't know why they're trying to sass her, but whatever. Kiraha has 11, Taiki has 7, and Team Twilight does not appear at all interested. And then there are 18 that are unclaimed. Lilithmon says that Crossheart is now dealt with, and she will have 31 soon, and Bargramon says that she will be his successor. I just find that interesting. And meanwhile, Wisemon is also explaining the same thing to Taiki.
It's good to know what all the lieutenants' like motivations are and why they're joined the Bagra army. It's like, oh. But here's the thing, right? A successor makes a lot of sense in the real world, where humans age and die.
Yeah.
Digimon don't.
True.
So how are they going to succeed him unless he dies?
He goes to
like in
Digi-retirement.
battle.
They retire.
No, they don't.
Also, maybe he just wants to step down. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, we also find out what his motivation is make the world evil, and then I'll rule the world.
Also, arguably, Digimon do age. They all become Digimon and Barbamon, and this is based on Tamagotchi, when they would all age and become the old man or the old woman, which I think is called Jijichi and Babachi.
But those are different Digimon. What evolves into them?
What do you mean? Everything. As I just said, it's Babachi and Jijichi from the Tamagotchi is just what old Digimon who don't die become. Like, I mean, if in the Tamagotchi example, it's what old Tamagotchi become if they don't die. They just become old Digimon if they don't have babies and then leave. And that's what Digimon and Barbamon are meant to be. All Digimon become Digimon and Barbamon if they don't die young.
I don't believe you. I feel like if I went on the Digimon wiki right now, I'd be able to see the tree of what actually becomes them. It wouldn't just say everything.
Yeah, I mean, it does.
What? Am I right or you right?
No, I'm right. Anyway, so Taiki asks if the digital world came from the human world. And this is interesting because, unlike every other season, apparently it's in Cross Wars, it's the opposite. The digital world existed first. Like, before the human world existed, the digital world was there.
All the wiki says is that the prior form is Piximon.
Well, that's, like, probably in one of the VPETs, but I know that they all become Digimon and Barbamon. I can't remember where I read that, but it's definitely mentioned somewhere.
Or did you just make it up?
Probably not. In the dub,
Maybe.
Humans are using the internet for videos of cats. Thanks, Wisemon. Wisemon then says he wants to do a more examination. Taiki
Wait, hold on a second.
Yep.
What's really important here is that, like, in this universe, this proves that Digimon are aliens. They're not products of human use of digital technology. What it actually says is that human technology is just inherently portals to this world, which doesn't make any sense at all. So if this world became evil, all technology would become evil.
Yes.
No.
I don't know. I just find it interesting because in Adventure, the human world and the digital world are sort of like the same thing. Like the digital world is on top of the human world, and it's based off technology in the human world. But
yes, in Adventure and every other season.
Yeah, in every other season. But in this, it's different. It's the opposite. It's like, well, digital world was already there.
Yeah, but this is stupid.
I know. I like that they're trying to do something different.
Then why are they called the digital world?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, it's mainly like an alien universe at this point. So Taiki sees some flippers. In the dub, they add in a sort of inner monologue where he's thinking about having an idea for escaping. Back to Team Crossheart, Blastmon had Digimemories and didn't mention them.
Well, because she was asleep the whole time. I can't believe she didn't say that.
Yeah, in the dub, she said she was going to use them as earrings, and she didn't tell them sooner because she was getting a manicure. Fantastic. Also, I'd like to point out that, because we jump between Taiki being with Wisemon and Team Crossheart, Taiki wants to be let out, but Wisemon says the Bagra army will always win, and Taiki says he'll change the conclusion.
And then Wisemon's just like, that's illogical, but I guess.
Zenjiro tries to use the Darkdramon Digimemory and it doesn't work.
He did it wrong, though. He has to just instinctively know what the attack is to make it work.
Taiki is calling out. He's swimming with flippers. In the dub, he complains about the ball and chain, despite that actually being part of his idea.
And it's his plan.
Yeah, it's part of his plan, and I don't know why he's complaining about it like it's sort of he had no choice. And then he immediately uses it as a weapon, which is really cool. Like, This fortnight, we've had a lot of Taiki fighting. I don't know, by himself. I like it. Wisemon shows up to save Taiki from Arkadimon, and then he throws his book at Arkadimon. In the dub, he says, "He's my specimen, so I'm going to throw my book at you," which is the weirdest sentence I've ever heard in the entirety of Digimon.
Well, I mean, for me, I go, it makes the joke that I wrote in my notes for the Japanese. I go, he throws the book at Arkadimon. And so then they made the joke. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it didn't strike me as weird because it was my own thought process coming out of the speakers.
In the original, Wisemon says that his book has no significance compared to Taiki. In the dub, he says he understands Taiki's principle about helping, and now he can continue examining Mikey. I feel like that's less meaningful than in the original. I don't know. Taiki gets his crossloader back, and I'm just really enjoying the new evolution animation where he selects them from the loader. Like, he's holding out the crossloader, and he scrolls through the different options, and he selects them. I really like
they're
this
all
for some reason.
coloured screens. It doesn't show you anything on the screen that he's actually selecting.
Yeah, but like it shows up outside the screen. I don't know. I appreciate it. But then we get Cross 5. Taiki says that they should leave. Taiki then uses Darkdramon because Arkadimon has followed them, and then Cross 5 punches them away. Now they're going to the next zone. Lilithmon is really heartbroken to see that Arkadimon's cut in half and dead, which is fair enough.
Like, she's gonna explode!
Yeah, which kind of like she hasn't actually exploded, but that was kind of like her thing when we first met her, is that she gets angry and then explodes. So the Chosen Children, which are Team Crossheart, arrive at the Monotomon's hometown, and Wisemon is now in the crossloader because he wants to examine his lab animal. Monotomon are all in different colours, and we realise that this is called the Shinobi Zone, or in the dub, Warrior Zone. For the Digimon data collection, we have Blue Erimon, and in the dub, as I mentioned before, it's weird that it's like this quiz, and Monotomon always guesses wrong. I don't know. It's sure is the thing. What do you think of this episode as someone who is new to Digimon?
It was weird seeing Arkadimon, and I don't really think I got over that the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, he's from V-Tamer.
I think Wisemon's stuff where he was like, what was the phrase in the Japanese? You can't turn your back?
Yeah.
But I don't know what that means, and him like working that out. That was fun. Yeah. He did little smiley eyes at the end. That was worth it. I
kind of like Wisemon's expressions, I guess. Like how he seems to have sort of cute expressions despite only basically having a small thing of a face. I don't know, it's cute. I don't know why. I like Wisemon.
Did you catch at the end of the English when Wisemon, because obviously Wisemon in the Japanese has gone, okay, well, I'm not going to kill you, I'm just going to observe you and study you, right? In the English he goes, well, I'm going to deconstruct you later.
Yeah.
So he's gonna kill Taiki at a later date.
Yeah, he's like, oh, well, I guess me murdering you is for later times now. How would you rate this episode?
This is also a 6. It's fine.
I gave it a 6. Like, it is a fine episode. It's more than just functional. It's enjoyable and functional. Sort of enjoyable. I enjoyed it. But yeah, it is weird how Arkadimon is in this. We saw him in V-Tamer. He's the big bad in V-Tamer. He got cut in half.
It's easy, too.
I don't know, maybe it's because he's a lackey and not, like, a big bad. But I do appreciate that they're actually using Arkadimon as a Digimon in things.
No, they should have used it properly.
I think it's because when I first watched this, I hadn't read V-Tamer yet. So to me, it was just a monster of the week. So I didn't even register what it was. So when I came to watch this episode now, and I have gone through V-Tamer like twice since watching this for the first time, Arkadimon is like, I don't know, just like, whoa, that's Arkadimon. And maybe I'm meant to have that feeling, like they added that into like, what if people read the manga
There's
and
no
still
way.
watching Digimon?
There's no way it's designed for that, for children.
I was under the impression, because I didn't remember him showing up in Cross Wars at all, is that he had only made a reappearance in the latest Cyber Sleuth game. But no, he was in Cross Wars, and that's really cool. How did this episode compare to predictions and Obnoxious Synopsis?
Apparently, I thought that Taiki would be told the secrets of the universe, which is actually kind of true. Yeah. He was kept aside, and he was sort of spoke to a sort of Genai figure, but it was like more guessing than it was actual secrets.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe the secrets would be boring, and then they're not true, right? It's just Wisemon being like making assumptions and then being wrong.
Yeah, and what was the major difference between the Japanese and English version? Because mine was Zenjiro being actually legitimately concerned about Nene and saying, oh, she's just bashful because she has friends. In the dub, it's just him being thirsty the entire time. Like, he doesn't seem to actually be concerned about her. He's like, oh, she's just in love with me.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, like, Zenjiro's fine. Like, he's like, he likes her. But he's also concerned about her well-being as a human being. In the dub, it's just like, Jeremy's super thirsty and disgusting. Do you have a difference?
I think that was it, especially right at the beginning, when even Taiki is like, yo, I really think that you look upset and like unwell because of how Jeremy is treating you.
Yeah.
And also, like, obviously Wisemon saying that he's going to kill Taiki later.
Oh yeah, that too. What I found really funny about these chunk of episodes, and we did touch on this before, is that the end of episode 19 and the start of episode 20, where Taiki is grabbed away, and then it immediately happens again in episode 22. It super just feels like they could have just removed those episodes and had Nene join them in some other way.
Absolutely. Like, maybe they just needed to get it from point A to point B, and they had to fill time.
And they had to get the darkness loader. But I feel like that could have happened when they were in the forest zone almost. Like, it feels weird. It feels like they had 2 points in the story and they needed 2 episodes in between. It doesn't seem right. I still enjoyed the episodes, but it does make it seem a lot weirder, especially because he wasn't even separated for that long in the first episode. Like, he could have... I felt like they only need that point just to let us know, hey, for one thing, Taiki will listen to the bad guy if it means potentially helping someone, and 2, we need to know that he's got no evil in him, and that...
He's too pure. Yeah. Too pure for this world.
And then we have that comparison to Kirihara. It's just like, oh, but Kirihara does have that darkness. Taiki has no darkness. I don't know, it's just a thing. I feel like it feels weird. I don't know, these episodes.
Doesn't that just mean there's like he has no character conflict whatsoever?
Yeah, I mean, he does have the conflict of having to help people, which this is another one of my discussion points, is that how... And I love this, by the way. Taiki's bad habit essentially fuels the entire plot of Cross Wars. Because if he never wanted to help people, he wouldn't be here. And basically every zone is more or less just like Taiki saying, I'm going to help people. It's funny. That's the fuel of the plot. Like, that's the catalyst, is him helping people. And it's in every zone that he goes to. He's just like, I'm going to help you. I don't know. It's actually not terrible. Like, it sounds like, oh man, they use the same thing to fuel the plot. And like, no, it's actually, like, the way they've done it is kind of reasonable. So we had some Digimon introduced, sort of. Arkadimon, I guess, was introduced.
Arkadimon's not new. We've talked about him at length in other episodes. Better episodes than this.
And he was weaker.
Way weaker. Like, yeah. It's sad.
Yeah. So we have Wisemon, who I love.
I like Wisemon. I honestly think he's like a weird improvement on Wizardmon's design.
Yeah, because he's also... Wizardmon's not... I probably told you this before. Wizardmon's not a Digimon.
What?
Wizardmon is actually from a different universe. I think it's called Witchenly. It's another VPET where you look after a wizard.
I'm sorry, you're only telling me this now?
I thought I mentioned it before.
You've literally... This is lies. I need you to send me, like, a link or something. I don't believe you.
There is a link, and I will put in the show notes as well. He's from another Bandai product, and that's why I think he mentions at some point in Adventure, and I might be misremembering this, that he's not from this world. He isn't a Digimon. He's from Witchenly. I think that's what it's called.
But doesn't he evolve into that guy from that turned into Beelzemon?
Oh yeah, he's been given an evolution, but canonically, he's not from the digital world, basically.
What I think you mean the opposite. In canon, he's a Digimon, but outside of the show.
No. Canonically.
Okay, when is that ever said in the canon?
As I said, in Adventure, he mentions being from another world that's not the digital world. I
Does
believe.
he?
Somewhere. I can't remember where. I remember it being said something that Adventure Wizardmon's not from this world.
These are big lies.
I'll dig something up.
The biggest lies.
I'll dig something up. So for Postmon Pat, I will read YouTube and Tumblr, and Jay will read the comment on With the Will from Chakmon. So first
You got it.
On YouTube, we have SilverheadFreak25, who has a comment about Lane, which was very, this comment just kind of made me go, oh, a lot. So they say, according to TV tropes, the creators of the show don't actually agree on what the series is about. They wanted it to be interpreted different by different audiences, and SilverheadFreak25 says that when they read that, the series makes sense. It's a bunch of faux symbolism fluff that's ultimately a testament to the writing demon known as a subject. Also, as for Mika, she apparently tried to go to the wide but got stuck halfway, and that left her as a brainless vegetable. That made Lane seem a lot like, maybe people just think it's really deep, maybe it's not, maybe it just means nothing.
I'm so glad this completely confirms my theory about the show, which is it was a lot of spaghetti thrown at the wall, and then it would stick for enough people that they would go, oh, that means something.
Yeah, and also, I said this in the Lane episode, it was also, 20 years ago. Its 20th anniversary is coming up in July, and that people just, I don't know, there was less anime that was quality, and this was about new things like the internet, and that's all I can say. So on Tumblr, we have another message from P96822, and they say, what do you think of the villains of Atmon? I like the villains.
They're pretty good. I think the answer is Knight is actually a little bit weird in that he gets underutilized, but he's good, but he seems a bit out of place.
Yeah.
And a lot of the monsters of the week, they're pretty hit and miss. But overall, Leviathan's good, which is, they planned everything.
Leviathan's good.
That's all it really needs to be. Did we get another one on Tumblr?
Yeah, we got another one on Tumblr. I just haven't said it yet because we were talking about this. But yeah, I really like Leviathan. I don't know, I feel like the villains in Atmon, without spoiling it, are better than the villains in any Digimon season, basically.
Pretty much.
They are more or less successful, and in the end, Leviathan kind of got what he wanted, and because the end starts with the line that we are given in the first episode, which was, by the year 2045, AI will surpass human intelligence. And at the start, it's said in this dark sort of way, but at the end, it's in a positive way. So it's really up for us, how do we interpret that? Are we interpreting that as AI will overtake us and will dominate us, or we will work with AI?
It doesn't mean either of those things. It just means that they'll be smarter than us.
Yeah.
Which, the singularity idea is that robots will not only become smarter, but then able to reproduce, so they become independent.
Yeah.
That's really what it's about.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean
singularity, yeah.
That doesn't mean work. That doesn't mean dominate or work with. It's just a separate fact list.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just, I like Atmon. If you haven't already watched Atmon, I know it's not available legally yet, but please, give Atmon a chance. And when it comes out legally, just watch it. Watch it so much. Hopefully we're getting a dub. There's a French dub. There's a Chinese dub. Hopefully there's an English one soon, one day.
Maybe.
Maybe
not.
Atmon deserves everyone in the Digimon fandom to at least give it a shot. It is just so good. I don't know how to say it. It's just a good season of Digimon. And compared with Try, it's just I should have the wonderful feelings about Try as I do towards that. Whenever I think about Atmon, I'm just man, I liked this. When I watch it again, it's just I enjoy this. I'm watching it in Japanese at the moment for a bit of study. It's enjoyable. It makes me happy. I don't know. Then we get another one on Tumblr from Nimos, and they say, are we sure Hikari's mysterious illness isn't just her being allergic to the plot? That's why she was fine during 02, because that barely counted. No, she had a little bit of she had fever symptoms in her plot episode, which is his master's voice, where we have the Dargomon. She is allergic to the plot, because that was plot episode that never went anywhere because it's a dark ocean. Jay, did you want to read Chakmon's on With the Will?
I do. Did you want to address the one about the meme we put up?
Oh yeah. I actually replied to that one.
The
So
answer is basically the person depicted in the meme. Yeah, he's pretty
so
gross and
we should probably
problematic.
explain. So I made a post with the and I didn't add this to my list because I already replied to it, and while I was adding it to it, so it slipped my mind. So thank you for reminding it because I didn't want to address this. So we put up a version of a meme which is blank text, change my mind.
It's a dude sitting like at a college campus
Yeah.
with a little table, and he's all leaning back like, haha. And the original, like, we'll get into the background. Basically, someone came through and was like, okay, you know that meme, has this sort of history, and it's homophobic and gross.
Well,
I'm like, yeah,
this is what the sign actually says. It says, male privilege is a myth, change my mind.
yeah, that's
And
what the original version of it is.
And apparently he's like this huge homophobic, transphobic, basically
Yeah.
human rubbish.
Crowd is gross.
Yeah. So yeah,
We know that.
Yeah.
But we also think, well, I've always thought the idea, like, when you take these memes or, like, jokes about on this guy and how the idea of these memes is kind of that format's really dumb, and the entire point he was trying to make was really dumb, and I see this entire thing as sort of a rib and a roast of this guy, as part of, like, the joke you make, and then also it's this person is silly, and you're not taking him seriously, because he doesn't deserve to be taken seriously.
It's still popularizing him, like, as a person.
Does it? Does it have his name on there?
It has his face on it. I don't know. It's still.
Did you know his name?
Well, now I do because I looked him up to see what the original one was, but I know.
But you made a meme out of it, and you had no idea who he was.
Yeah, and I feel really bad because just like I don't know, I shouldn't have enjoyed it.
No, I think it's. I mean, personally, I think it's okay.
Male privilege is definitely not a myth. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Women had to starve themselves to vote. That proves that it's definitely like the suffragettes existed because
I'm not going to get into the whole thing, and I think it's more complicated than here is one fact and that ends it. I think you can make much more complex and interesting arguments.
Yeah, I know. No, I know that. I was just saying that. I know. Now knowing the original sign, that's just really, really annoying. It's gross. When men have to starve in order to get basic human rights, like the ability to vote, then we can talk. But at the moment, it's just like, nah, mate. So did you want to read with the Chuckmon one on With the Will?
Sure. We got one for Chuckmon who says, Heaven Zone is a good mini-arc. They love Lucimon. It was nice to have a good Lucimon, even if it was an act. Good, I guess, as in, like, nice.
Yeah.
The continuity issues brought up by Jay with Lucimon's plan and its time required were all good points. The bigger question, though, was why would Lucimon work with Lilithmon? The inevitable downfall of Lucimon as Lucimon Satan mode was sad, but the crazy, uncontrollable, and dangerous vibe Cross Wars was trying to push with these evolving forms of Lucimon just never gelled in the way that Skull Greymon did in Adventure and Chimeramon in Zero Two. For whatever reason, the dangerousness of the situation with this irrational Digimon just didn't deliver. And I think that's because there's no reliance on this Digimon. It just is a bad guy, and no one was, with Chimeramon, obviously, Ken thought he could control it, and then he was proved wrong. With Skull Greymon, Taiki thought he could control it, and he was wrong. This is just a bad guy, and you were going to fight him anyway, so it didn't matter. They've got to say they're not not as big a fan of Sparrowmon as May is. Well, here's a hint: no one is.
No, I like, but to be fair, Sparrowmon's really good.
I'm not a big fan of Sparrowmon's design, and here's a hint: no one is. He looks too much like a Bullet Bill from Mario in the face. Fight me. That's super funny. It is.
Fight me, though.
And what made episode 19 good was Decadramon joining Kiriha. As the guardian deity of love, it felt extra special that Decadramon saw the love in Kiriha. The blue character always suffers from some interpersonal character flaw in the name of further boosting the Gogglehead as a character by comparison. But Decadramon said, "Not today, Taiki. The strongest love is with Kiriha." It was just a nice thing. And also they prefer Deadly Axons to be non-verbal. They appear more scary when they just psychotic swinging axe Digimon.
Yeah,
and with regards to Lane, if Lane is God, they find it interesting that she encompassed every aspect of God through her actions and inner thoughts throughout the final episode. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva were all personified at some point, from preserving Alice and her memories as an expression of love, because Alice made Lane feel real, to contemplating whether or not to start her all over again, since he just reset the world anyway, to eventual realization that through her dad's appearance of being able to see each other anytime, and the instability of her memory and reality. They found it interesting, though their mind tends down that path. Look, I'm gonna say, rewinding slightly, this is the exact sort of thing I was talking about with throwing spaghetti at the wall and making it stick.
Yep.
Of course, someone can draw the line to like the Indian mythology of like Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, because if you throw enough random stuff around, you can apply it to anything. And now that we sort of have the context of the writers didn't have an idea of what they were trying to say, they were just saying lots of stuff and then letting people interpret it. I wish I could say, oh yeah, that's what that means, because I've read like that's really fascinating, like comic books and stuff, where there are commentaries from the people who wrote them. Like Arkham Asylum, the copy I have, has commentary from Grant Morrison, and he says, "So here are all the myths I was playing with, and here's the reason that this allegory makes sense." And he explains it all, and you're like, "Oh, okay." So there was like a deep meaning here to what you were trying to say, and you had it in mind the entire time. And I just don't get that sense from Lane at all. But it does give you the tool set to come to interesting conclusions like this one. So Chuckmon goes on to say, they find it interesting, and then they'd really have to watch the series again in a more condensed way, but the blogspot analysis was interesting. They actually kind of like how the series is so flexible to interpretation. People can draw meaning based on what they think is important or real, and they think Lane brings up some interesting ideas on reality, consciousness, the self, and the collective using the new digital world of the internet as an avenue to explore these ideas. They'd have to watch it again, though. And Lane really should have had a Digivice.
I mean, Jury had a Digivice, and she's more or less Lane, right? I mean, Jury from Tamers, not Jury as in...
I knew who you were talking about. Yeah. I mean, are they the same person? I guess.
In the dub, they have the same voice.
That doesn't mean they're the same person.
Canonically, it must, right?
Alright, everybody, join us for the next episode of Caligula, laughing all the way to the Kode Crown.
That is a terrible, terrible name. I feel like they wanted to make a joke, but they just didn't make a joke. They just said a thing. Or Shinobi Zone, the comical ninja
Code Crown
battle.
Is a pun for bank. And Monitor Mission Impossible.
That's a terrible name. Or Dropout Monitormons Do Your Best.
And Showdown in Shaki Town.
Or Zone Collapses, Sparks Fly Between Taiki and Kirihara. So happy birthday to Chisai for June 3rd.
Happy bird bath.
Hippity borp borp. And the link dumps link to the description. And I will also link the thing on Witch and Lee to Jay, as I'm sure he's excited to read. Our Redbubble's also linked in the description, and you can get more than just shirts there too. You can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on Lost in Translation on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have discussion of that on With the Will, and a Reddit thread in the Digimon subreddit. And we would appreciate if you would review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and any other podcast listening app that you use. Ratings really assist people finding out about the podcast. And we have a website, vote in polls, check out our release schedule, and check out our blog posts, which of course we just updated, as we mentioned, in LostinTranslationmon.
And you can donate to our Patreon, which is linked in the description, from as little as $1 a month, which gets you access to our listener Slack chat group. But there are higher levels with more rewards, such as notes, early episodes, and more. And thanks to our Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, Stevie, who has Stevie Panmon on Tumblr and is currently taking commissions, Metal Amimon, Joe, Anime Guy, who's Anime Guy Kurosaki and the number 1 on YouTube, Chuckmon, Hirolato, who's at Hirolato on Twitter, Jason Morosky, Ryuchi, who's Frost Magic on Archive of Our Own, and Inca.com/Wyden Allen, Stephen Reeves, who's at Wildwing64, who's just Wildwing64 on Archive of Our Own, Kaidawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Chisai, who can follow at Chisai236 on Tumblr, Kyle, the Lady Bugman, whose Emma blog you can find at bagururagu.wordpress.com, Glitchgoat, Azra McCool, Gene Hackmon, who hosts New World Sonata, which is a sci-fi and fantasy audio drama podcast, Sporky, Matthew, Anthony, who's Anto Classic on Twitter, Lizmet, who's Elecmon on Tumblr, Sithobi, Megan, Kyliek, Neobu, The Time Optimist, Silverhead Freak 25, who's at SHF25 tweets on Twitter, Harvey, Nicholas, Anthony V,